Hey everybody, it's Lo and welcome back to my channel, Lo Without Limits. In this video, I'm going to talk about different set and rep ranges that you can use in your workout programming. So if you want to see that, then just keep watching. As we are now in the new year, happy 2022. This is a time where a lot of people will be making different fitness and health resolutions, just getting into the gym, starting new activities and new workouts. And one thing that is pretty hard, especially if you're new to it, is knowing exactly what to do. There are a few super simple ways that you can just reduce that block of knowing where to start by either hiring a personal trainer at whatever gym you got your membership at, or hiring an online trainer who can give you a different program, which is something that I've been doing lately, or finding a pre-designed program online that isn't specifically tailored to you. It's a bit generic, but it could be, you know, anywhere between $40 and $80 depending on who you're buying it from. The most important thing is having a structured and routine plan. That way you have something to stick to, something to fall back on, and you're not going into the gym every day at a complete loss. But if you do want to make your own program, then one thing that you do really need to keep in mind are these sets and reps. I'm going to break down the different sets and set ranges as well as rep and rep ranges and what each one does. So if you are going into the gym, will set you up for success in the long run. So brief definitions and quick overviews of sets, reps, and I'm also going to just quickly mention load and volume, since those will also be something that I mention, and if you're not entirely sure what they are, then without this it's kind of like, wait, what is she saying? So really quickly, sets are the overall amount of an exercise that you're going to do. So if I'm going to do squats, each time I do a group of reps, that's one set. Reps are what are within sets. So every time you do a full motion, so for a bicep curl, starting from the bottom, going to the top, going back down, one rep. For a squat, going back down, standing back up, one rep. So an entire range of motion from start to finish and then back to your starting position is a rep. And again, when you have a bunch of those one after another, that creates your set. Load is the weight that you will be doing. So some can be body weight, no load. Some, if you don't have any equipment and you're working out at home, can even just be resistance bands. So you won't have a specific number. The load of a resistance band changes as the band stretches and gets back to its normal size. So that typically would just be like lower load if you have a lighter resistance band, or heavier for a heavier one. And then of course with weights, either barbells, dumbbells, or even machines or cables, whatever weight that says is the load for that exercise. Calculating volume is going to be sets times reps times load. So if I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 reps, that's 30. And then for each of those reps, I did 10 pounds. I used a 10-pound little barbell, then my entire volume for that one specific exercise on that day was 300 pounds. So the 30 times 10, 300. If I improve and get stronger over time, and using volume is a really good way to track your increase in strength, and the next week I do 15 pounds, then my load has increased by 150. So now my new volume is 450. Now you know what sets are, what reps are, and what load is, and how to calculate your volume for your workout. But what sets and reps should you do? So let's start off with sets. So the average set range is somewhere between 1 to 5. So doing one set of an exercise would just be doing however many reps and then not going back to it again. So for the average person, one set typically isn't used in programming. If you're going to do 2 sets, that's a really good option if you are short on time and you can do a little bit higher reps in each set as well. Or if you're doing a full body day and you're going to hit that muscle later on. So for example, if I'm doing deadlifts earlier in my exercise, I can just do 2 sets of that, because later on I am going to do another leg exercise and maybe some rows, which will also target my back. So because your whole body is being worked in different exercises throughout that one specific workout routine, then doing 2 sets is good. It also just saves you on time and just makes sure that your body doesn't get overworked or overtired, especially if you are newer to the gym. Going on to 3 sets per exercise, this is also probably one of the most average sets that people will use for exercises. It's great for time. You can do a variety of rep ranges. Another one of the more common set ranges is 4 sets per exercise. It's what I often do the most, especially with my compound movements at the beginning of my workout, which is like squats or deadlifts or some sort of press or row. Because they are heavier and require more muscles, I will do fewer reps for each one, but I will do 4 sets. That way I can increase my volume since my reps are a little bit on the lower end. And it's another really common one to do, again, especially if you are going a little bit lower in the rep ranges, or you do have a bit of time, or you just really want to focus on strength gains. So typically 3 or 4 for the average person is the ideal amount of sets that you should be doing per exercise. And lastly, another really common amount of sets to do per exercise is 5. This is something that you will see being done with people lifting really heavy loads, and that would also usually mean lower reps per set. So a really common one is doing 5x5 training, which means you're going to do 5 sets of 5 reps, but because you're at a lower rep range, these people are often using a lot of weight, and they're mainly focusing on building up their strength to as much as they can, 5 or even 6, especially if they're focusing on building strength for a competition. Then that's when you will most often see that done. The average person watching this is not something that you would be doing, especially right off the bat if you haven't been to the gym in a while. Then doing 3 or even 2 to save time and do full body, or 4 if you have worked out previously and maybe have just taken a little bit of time off. Those are more ideal for building your own programming versus going into 5 and doing lower reps and trying to build strength when you don't have that background of doing the movement properly or just having that strength. When you're new, you need to really just like tell your body, okay, this is what we're doing. We're gonna do a few lower sets, we're gonna get used to this, make sure we can do it properly, and then over time, as our programming progresses, then we can increase those sets and really work on our strength. But for now, focus on doing the movement properly, recovering properly, feeling good, instead of just challenging yourself right away, because if you do that, you'll most likely injure yourself or just overwork and overtrain your body too quickly. And now going into reps and what rep ranges you should choose when designing your programming or switching up your programming if you've been doing the same thing for about 4 weeks and it's time to just change it up, because changing up the rep ranges as well as the set ranges is really good to challenge and just kind of show your body something different that it can do. Going into the new year after taking a little bit of time off because of the holidays, I'm going to go into it with a different rep range to challenge my body and to send a different muscle building signal, make my muscles and my body try to do something different, which will send a new adaptation signal. So they're like, oh, now we have to do this, let's react to that. Versus if you're doing the same thing over and over and over, at first they're like, gotta react to that, and then they're like, okay, I know what we're doing here, I know. And then as soon as you switch it up 4 weeks later, it's like, oh, gotta do something else. I'm going to start off with the higher rep ranges and work my way down. So something super high would be like 15 to 20 reps per set. That's something that you would typically be doing if you're doing a more body weight, maybe circuit style training. Again, still working on form, going slow and controlled, but you don't have any resistance, so it's feeling a bit easier and you just want to build muscular endurance and you're not challenging your body with load, then that intensity is gone, and the new intensity is to add more reps, because it will make your body have to work longer and that will challenge your muscles in a different way. So that's something that's good to do, especially if you don't have any equipment but you want to just build a little bit of muscle or burn a little bit of fat. Then doing that higher rep range if you are at home. Another really good rep range to do either at home or at the gym is 12 to 15 reps. While a bit higher, you will also want to use a lower weight because you will be doing the exercise for a longer period of time. This is something that I do with my shoulder exercises, for example, because while I'm just using the little 2.5 or 5 pound plates, I could easily do a 10-pound weight and just do like get 2 done, but it's using that lightweight, going slow and controlled for a longer duration of time, 12 to 15 reps. That's really been challenging my shoulder muscles because again, it's a longer duration. So while the intensity of the weight has gone down, the intensity of the reps has increased, and that has challenged the endurance. And that's also something that's really good if, for me personally, I can do lower reps for a few extra sets. It is a lot of weight and I'm getting stronger in that way, but my muscles don't know how to work for a long time without getting super fatigued. So that is something that I will be getting into more as I'm switching up my programming, is increasing the reps, which again does mean decreasing the overall load and still having a higher volume, by having the more reps in order to help train the endurance of my muscles so that they can work out longer. And while I'm saying, oh, it's lower load but higher reps, you're thinking like, so I won't really gain muscle? No, you will still gain muscle, especially if it's something new. Either you haven't worked out in a while or you've been doing lower reps and this is something completely new to your bodies. You will experience a little bit of a change. Your body will have to adapt, so you will still be building muscle. But once you do transition back into lower reps and you start training more for strength, that step back into the lighter load will help you progress forward. Now, the mid rep range is about 8 to 12 or 6 to 10, anywhere between that and that. You will be using a bit more load than you were for that previous higher rep range, and this will really help you build a bit more muscle. And this is also a really good place to start if you do have some workout experience and you're just getting back into the gym, you want to work on your exercising again and just getting some movement in. This is a really good place to be in order to gain some muscle. And the more muscle mass you have on your body, the higher your metabolism actually is, so you burn more calories while at rest just by having more muscles. So building muscle is definitely important. It also helps you just look good, feel good. It's great for your body, it's great for your hormones. This is a really good rep range, and it's also, because it is either 6 to 10 or 8 to 12, it's also a really good rep range if you don't have a ton of time. Doing 3 sets of either of those rep ranges is really good to get a really good workout in and to do a bunch of different exercises, about like 6 to 8 exercises depending on your time, and still get in and out of the gym within an hour. And then anything lower than that, 1 to 6, is considered low. So what I will do on average for my compound movements is 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps. Once I get to 4 sets of 6 reps for those exercises, then I'll add a bit more weight until I'm doing 4 sets of 4 reps, and of course doing that until I can get up to 6 per set. But that is definitely something that if you want to just like build strength, and again, this is something that you will want to increase your weight on because you are going for not as many reps for this exercise, so you can go heavier, which is again why it's really good at building strength, just overall strength, which also does correlate to some muscle growth. So that is a really good one if you have been working out for a while and definitely want to challenge yourself and increase that. A lot of people again will do 5 by 5 or 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps, and if you're like gonna try powerlifting or some competitive thing, then just doing like 1 or 2 really heavy reps for a set and then doing that multiple times is something that can be done. But again, I highly doubt I have any of those people watching this video right now. Since you are adding more weight, you don't want to do this with bad form, and you can go slow and controlled. You'll probably want to take a little bit longer as your rest period's like 2.5 minutes, because you do really need to restore your body and get your body back down to a more steady position before going into it again, since it is so heavy and demanding. If it's too easy and you feel like you do it and you're like, wow, I can do like 10 more, then go heavier, because you need that challenge, you need that extra load and resistance to help build your muscles, so they have something to be like, oh, this is a lot of weight, we should build more muscles and more strength so we can do this easier. And the same goes for doing the higher rep ranges. You don't want to do what you're going to be lifting 4 to 6 reps on to do 12 to 15. You won't be able to do that. A lot of studies also point to saying that lower rep ranges but with more weight will increase muscle and strength, which is true, because if you're going to be lifting more weight, then you will gain more muscle and strength versus lifting lighter weight for lower reps. So while those studies are correct in saying lift more weight for lower reps if you want these things, it doesn't work for everybody. Like, yes, that's what science may point to, but if you aren't somebody who works out super often, you're barely getting back into it, you need to work on form, then jumping straight into higher heavy weight for lower reps is not going to be good for you. You will hurt yourself.
He French fried when he should have pizzaed. You French fry when you pizza, you're gonna have a bad time.
If you're somebody who again is getting back into the gym, then starting at a higher rep range with lower weight will be what's best for you. For example, I wrote a program for one of my friends who used to weightlift before. She's still pretty active. She'll do beach volleyball and different like club sports, but she wanted to have a new workout routine going into the next few months before her wedding. So because she does have a history of working out and of having good form and of squatting and doing all these things, I started her off with about 6 to 10 or 8 to 12 for different exercises. And she also mentioned I can only do 2 days a week, so they are full body days, and I can only spend about 45 minutes per session, so it is only 3 sets per session. But that's for her, which is also another reason why just buying generic programs online might not work, because I'm not going to give that same program to my mom who has a history of low back issues. She has rheumatoid arthritis. She'll go to the gym when the gyms were back open. She would just do machines, or she'll do some cable stuff, and when she's home she'll use resistance bands and get on the little stationary bike that she has. I'm not going to give her what I gave to my friend. I'm not going to say, okay, you go to the gym now, you can do good mornings and squats, and you're going to be using this weight and doing this rep range. For my mom, I would say, let's start off body weight. Let's work on form, because you don't want to aggravate your lower back. And in doing so, we're just going to do 3 sets of 15 to 18 reps. For my sister, who's 5 years younger, she's healthy. She goes to Pilates a few times a week. I'm not going to give her what I'm giving my mom, because that might be too easy, but I'm also not going to challenge her with what I gave my friend, because my sister's never lifted weights before, so that would be too hard. What I would say is, let's go to the gym, let's work out with lighter weight, 12 to 15 reps at first, and then going down 8 to 12, and really focus on form more so than gaining a ton of strength. But because she hasn't ever lifted weights before, she will still see strength gains because it's such a new stimulus to her body. We really need to figure out who you are in this situation. Are you somebody who has experience, maybe has taken some time off, or you've been consistent but you want to switch up your set and rep ranges just to challenge your body? Because again, you should always switch it up every like 4 up to 6 weeks. Or are you somebody who doesn't have any experience and you just need to work on form and gaining some muscle, gaining some muscular endurance so you don't fatigue during the workout super easily before going on to adding any weight, let alone a ton of weight. So it's definitely a lot to take into consideration of where you are, which is why I can't sit here and say this is what you should do first. If you have this goal, definitely talk to somebody, look at your situation, look at your history, look at your abilities and what weights you also have available. If you can go to the gym and start to lift heavier over time, sure, incorporate that. If you don't have a gym access or weight access and you just have body weight and resistance, work on incorporating that. So really there is a lot to take into consideration, but hopefully understanding the pros and cons of different set and rep ranges will help you make a decision in creating your own programming. And if you do need help, I would love to make a program for you as well and just do little check-ins. So that's something, now that I have my personal training certification, would love to do more of. Well, there you have it. Those are the different set and rep ranges that you can include to your workout programming. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment down below what your current workout is and what you want to see more of on my channel. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe. I upload a new video every Wednesday. So until the next one, thanks for watching.